Welcome, Shift Crew and Empath Nation, to the Obsidian Blade Medicine Hour. If you are catching this live or on the replay, well, welcome. I am so grateful and glad that you're here as we discuss all things Shift, New Earth, and reclaiming your power as a creator. And part of that reclaiming your power as a creator, has to do with you being real about who you really are. And that is an interesting one because we're going through many different roles right now. We're going through who we were and the world in which that person operated in. And as we can see that world is being deconstructed, we see a lot of pain in that world. We see a lot of people saying, you know what, I don't like the way it's been done. I'd like it to be done different. And of course, as we see in the people who have been most marginalized by this, old power paradigm, people are rising up. People are saying, my voice hasn't been heard. And there's a lot of pain around that. There's a lot of pain around people not having their voice heard in the mainstream. And I think a lot of what we're dealing with is the pain of not hearing our own voice inside of us. And that is, ultimately, you can't blame the government. You can't blame outside circumstances. Yes, you don't want to be oppressed. Yes, you don't want to be, contained by people who don't understand you, people who deny who you are. But also we have to ask, how much are we denying ourselves inside of us? How much are we creating an infrastructure inside our own mind that doesn't allow for the freedom that we're seeking? This is the place that we start. It's all real noble, and you can tell me if it's supposed to be this way, where we deconstruct Washington, D.C., or we deconstruct the empires. But I think that change that we're all looking for starts when we just actually deconstruct ourselves. And where does the infrastructure live that keeps us being the person we're not satisfied with? Where does that infrastructure usually live? We should dive into that. This is about you discovering some serious transformation and some serious leadership within you. And let's dive into how that we go about that and the way that we can support ourselves being the change that we seek. So before we do that, just a little station ID. If you're new to this channel, here's what we do. As empaths, healers, creators blossoming into our full abilities, we navigate the exit of the crumbling matrix slave system, aka the land of the dead, through the exploration and cleansing of your shadow side so that you come back to life and become the shift to live in your full power on New Earth in the light of the six sun star system. I've got the map. We are the crew. Let's do this. And just so you know, if you haven't hit subscribe or the like button for this video, please do so. It helps other people see that this is hopefully some value that I'm giving you and value that other people need to see. I'm here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, holding down the council fire, representing a voice of clarity, standing in the vibration, being in the vibration of the harmony with life. And may I be, that safe space, right? That safe space for you to, tell me what's going on for you. Where are you struggling? And, one of the big things that I give here on this channel is the fact that there are maps, there are ways in which to align our life. There are methods to utilize that will remove yourself from the chaos of what's around you and anchor yourself to what is real. There is something real here, and that real thing is called life. And life, uh, it's funny, I think there's been a huge campaign in mainstream media to like give us these ideas of things that aren't really the full potential. Like when I say the word life, it kind of turns into this kind of like, I don't know, the way life has been sold to me is this like sort of like, what do I want to say, like weak, or it's soft, or it's just like something you see on the Nature Channel. Life is the dynamic, powerful forces that hold the universe together. Life is the power of suns exploding, collapsing, creating whole worlds. That's life, okay? So when I talk about aligning with life, I'm talking about aligning with a major, major power of fierce beingness. That's life, fierce beingness. And again, as we all talk about a lot here, is that when we align with life, when all our actions come from a place of this respect, then anything that we choose to do within existence typically won't cause harm to another because we're in alignment with life. We are respecting and harmonizing with a healthy vibration. So what I want to get into when I was talking about what's in front of us, we have not only a spiritual path that's going on right now, we have the traditional, classic, timeless challenges of being on a spiritual path, plus the challenges of our times. And I would say, if we're hanging out, if we're crew, if we're tribe, I would say that the challenges that you're facing in this lifetime, you knew about before you even incarnated here. So I just want to say that you are equal to the task of what's going on here. And, consciously, I think we did sign up for this because we are capable to handle this transition. But it's really interesting, what is that balance right now? Because a traditional spiritual path, maybe 100 years ago, 200 years ago, you could go to a monastery, you could go to a place where you retreated from the world, and you really didn't have to participate. You could really deconstruct all existence and just check yourself out of the game. But for those who relate to this thing called the Bodhisattva path, where you're committed to the alleviation of everyone's suffering, the times we live in don't really allow for you to escape. They don't really allow for you to just check out and ignore everything that's going on here, because where you are placed on the planet right now is critical. You have a part of the puzzle, and it's necessary for you to stay in the game of activity so that you show up in leadership to contribute your particular perspective to where humanity may be stuck. And humanity may be stuck in your life, in the workplace, or at school, or on the road, in the grocery store, or you just walking down the road. You're going to bump into other people who may be needing exactly what you have, because you've identified who you really are within you. And, ultimately, anything that we have going on for us in this spiritual development game, eventually we're going to let go of, right? So, it's been understood that, yes, we use yoga. Yes, we use meditation. Yes, we use crystals and animal spirit guides, but eventually those sort of things, while incredibly great and helpful and needed, eventually you do let go of those things. Eventually there comes a point where you have aligned yourself so well that you actually don't need to meditate anymore. Like it's like meditation is a tool or even a crutch to help you with your broken wings. But once your wings are healed, you don't need meditation. You won't need yoga. You won't need crystals and tarot cards. And I'm not knocking any of those things. I use all of those things. They're needed. But I'm just wanting you to get the picture of anything outside of you is a helper. But at a certain point, you won't be needing help. You will be so in your power that these things are just, little fun little boosts here and there to what you really are, to who you have really discovered yourself to be. And I just want to kind of bring that up because we are needing to nurture our true power. We are needing to transition from an old world to a new world. And again, do we deconstruct the world on the outside of us? Or do we use the outside world as a clue as to what to deconstruct within us? What of the outside world that you're fighting with are you then photocopying and then holding within your mind and then holding your truth against the idea of that thing within yourself? And that's where we become very empowered, and we're not needing to take a march on Washington or fight, because where we hold ourselves most in prison is in here, or within the thoughts of prison that we've continually subconsciously fed into the programming of our biology. And then our own body is holding that frequency also of what we've thought of first. So this is the time of cleansing. This is the time where we cleanse these prisons within us so that we can be the freedom that we're seeking for ourselves, and we can be the freedom that we can then model for the rest of the world. Now, of course, protesting and marching is also important if you feel called to do that, because again, it does lead people to the possibility of, and that's why we do show up in the world. We don't, again, like I was saying earlier, we don't have that luxury of retreating for the rest of our lives into the cave or into the monastery, because you are here to give people the signal that it's okay to be who they really are. You are giving people the signal to say there are more choices available than are promoted in the mainstream. And I think it's really fascinating that, we should really observe that there is two media streams going on: the one that we're sharing, or the natural intelligence media stream, and the mainstream, news deception machine. And like when we look at social media, right, what do we see? We see people really happy. We see people really in their power. We see people coming to what is true for them. And none of that is celebrated in these dominant, old school, controlled, financed media companies like the CNNs, the Fox Newses, etc., newspapers. But it's funny how I think because they used to hold so much authority in our cultures, we still reference them. We still look to them to be like, to tell us what's going on. But the truth is, all these old media companies, their numbers of people who watch them are way, way down. They're not in power anymore. And it's almost to this point, like, just like some people could get caught up in waiting for the government to honor who they are, that's going to be a really long waiting game. The same with mass media and major news sources, waiting for them to write stories about the revolution, evolution that's going on as far as New Earth. You're not going to see it. Those sources are keeping people in the dark. But fortunately, their media numbers, their viewership numbers are going, way down. So I just bring that up is again, we are needing to nurture ourselves. We are the future that we've been looking for. And the future is really about permission to entertain possibilities, and to entertain possibilities in a way we have never approached them before. And that requires, again, deconstructing the infrastructures that you hold in your mind, or the things and the prisons that you hold within your body, the restrictions that you've normalized. We've got to deconstruct those. We've got to get back into the space of where we are headed is going to be familiar because you've anchored it in your body first. Where we are headed is going to feel great to you. So how about feeling great right now? And if you're not feeling great right now, then figuring out and gaining the tools and the discipline to consistently go into your mind and body and spirit and do the cleansing and get into the alignment. So I want to show you a graphic, and sorry, Instagram Live, you're not going to see this graphic because I'm also on YouTube Live. But actually I can show it to you on the camera over here. So I want to show you this graphic that kind of labels, where we are right now and the mechanisms. We've got to get meta level with what we're doing here. Yes, we've got this graphic. So here's the graphic. I'm going to show it to you quickly live on Instagram. So there's two things going on here. There's a plane of existence here called the fifth sun, or where we are right now. And then there's the gap. And then there's the sixth sun and where we are headed. And then there's what we are, who we are, and where we are. Now, this is to get meta level as to where you are. Like, there's where you are right now and what you're contending with. And then there's where we're going under the light of the sixth sun. This requires us to innovate within us. This is, like I said, if we're holding an infrastructure within our mind and then within the feeling vibration of our body, and that infrastructure or concept of reality doesn't feel good, or it's holding you back, or it's limiting you, you're going to have to deconstruct it. You're going to have to let it go. And then you're going to have to, there's a lot of have tos in this process that I'm telling you, you can't skip this. You're going to have to get into the operating system, exactly, the operating system of possibility. And an operating system of possibility is one where you massively support yourself. It's funny, the old school term or concept of supporting yourself is going out and getting a job, and supporting yourself is about earning tons of money. Supporting yourself as a new earth citizen is about energy and working with paradigms of energy that give you basically the wind beneath your wings. I'll say it like that. I'm going to switch over this slide for YouTube Live. And again, that's where we have to do the work. If you're stuck and it feels frustrating, it's because you haven't let go of the very one thing that you have assumed to be Real. How did I write it today? Basically, you have to deconstruct the paradigms in which you live, removing any references to the way it has been done before you, the rules, the agreements. If we consistently agree to the way it's been done, you're going to be playing in somebody else's dream. What is it like to create energy systems and paradigms that allow you to flourish? And the more we innovate within us like this, then the more possibility is going to show up into reality. To grow into who you want to become, you are going to have to let go of who you were. To grow into who you want to become, you are going to have to let go of who you were. And to do this in a gentle way, to do this in a way that says, I love myself so much that it's time to drop how I've been participating. And to do it in a way that you're not angry with yourself or you're not angry with people outside of you. And to find a gentle way of doing this, because this is meant to be fun. This is meant to be getting us back into a state of play. The goal of all healing, the goal of all of this transformation is to get back into a state of play. We have to remember this is going to be fun, and it should be fun. And so if we're transitioning into a new earth, let's start the fun right now. And that's not a hedonistic fun, where we're just going to like... There's a balance to this. I want people to swim at the river and eat salads all day long. That's fucking great, But I think also doing the work can be a blast. Let's get into the fun of playing with our shadow. Let's get into the fun of being cosmic AF and going in and healing the tough situations. Because, going to the river and sunbathing and eating salad all day and laughing with your friends, we need that. We need that. But there are also people in the world right now who need our light. Wherever we decide to show up, wherever we can participate as the best as we can, the most powerful we can, to show up in the darker spaces of the collective humanity and just be possibility, to be light. So I want everything for everyone. I mean, let's party, let's have a beautiful time, but also let's do that work inside of ourselves and let's do that work outside of ourselves. So to grow into who you want to become, you're going to have to let go of who you were. And often in my meditations, it's this one phrase that I use. So I'm getting centered. I'm in good posture. I'm checking that my shoulders are aligned. My pelvis is in a neutral space. The abdomen muscles are locked. I'm breathing from the diaphragm. So posture is really number one. And then when I've started to really get centered, it really is this first question that helps set up everything. And I say to myself, what's the one thing that I am assuming right now? Because the crazy thing about assumptions of reality is that we have assumed them for so long that we forget that we're participating in them. That's the trick about our paradigms that we live in. We have agreed to them for so long that we have forgotten that we agreed to them in the first place. So they go into the background. They become normalized. But all existence, all reality is choice. So what we're doing in our shamanic level meditations is to get back into the place where we're remembering that we chose something and then assumed it so much that we forgot that we chose it. And so when we're sitting there, or I'm sitting there, and you can do this too, we say, what is the one thing that I'm assuming right now? And then you get into feeling, because we remember that body is the manifestation of thinking. Body is the mechanism to give you feedback as to the vibration and quality of your own thoughts. So when I say, what is the one thing I'm assuming right now? I dip into the feeling of my body. Mind is not thinking anything. I say, body, speak to me. And then I will go to find the overall tone of my beingness and feel it and go, okay, let me check in with this and realize that the tone of my total existence is the one thing I'm assuming because I haven't checked in with it. I haven't checked in until I get into my meditation with the tone of my beingness. Now, you can take this, what is the one thing I'm assuming about myself right now, my reality, and localize it to a part of the body. And that's also one thing to check in with too, because again, body is holding your thinking. If you want to liberate your mind, you've got to liberate your body. If you want to liberate your mind, you got to liberate your body. And one more for good times. If you want to liberate your mind, you've got to liberate your body because body is the repository of mind. Body is the bank account, reminding you of how much the quality of your own thinking. So again, what is the one thing I'm assuming? What is the one thing you're assuming about your existence in your meditation by checking in with body? And body will be like, this is what you have thought me to feel. Body says, this is what you have thought me to feel. Now, how about you take a moment to check in with it? How about you have a moment to say, so that's what it feels like to think the way that I do. That's what it feels like to think the way that I do. So yes, you can check in with your throat. You can check in with, for me, I play with a lot of energy around the eyes because the eyes are very fascinating. Other than your nervous system, like spinal cord, nervous system, the eyes are the only other object or sense organ that are directly connected to the brain. If you examine how the brain is connected to the body, you've got all the nerve endings shooting down through your spinal column, throughout your arms, everywhere, right? So that gives the body response, mind connection. But eyes are fascinating because they look like an extension of the brain. They shoot straight out from the brain. So it's a very fascinating organ, the eyes are. And so for me, a lot of my thinking, of course, is tied up in the ocular muscles. And so when I go into my meditation and I localize where I have been thinking super hard, often I have to spend a good 15, 20 minutes relaxing thinking as reflected by the tensions in my ocular muscles. And I know if I'm thinking, if my ocular eye muscles are engaged. They're so directly connected. Again, the eyes are basically shooting out from the brain. And so if they're moving around or you're feeling tension around the orbits like that, then you're thinking. And you can actually begin to relax those muscles, which relax the thoughts, or you relax the thoughts and it relaxes the muscles. It goes back and forth. I bring that to you because, again, our goal here is that we have to deconstruct who we have thought ourselves to be if we're going to have a chance at entertaining new possibilities of what we want to become. And as someone who is deciding to be a representative, a living person of the new earth now, and we all can do this. We're not waiting for new earth. We become new earth. At any time you want, you can become new earth. But that means letting go of all the assumptions and power paradigms of how you have done it to give yourself a chance at infinite possibility. And it's subtle what I'm trying to get across here. It's really about giving yourself a fighting chance. To love yourself to the degree where you set up energy paradigms within you. Setting up energy paradigms within you that give you the most power possible. setting up flow and dynamics and inspiration that gives you possibilities or gives you power to possibilities. And so this is where we get very creative in our meditation, because we let go of the fifth sun world, the old world, and we open up to arranging energy so that we flow at our optimum. We are energy beings. And so what is this work that we do? We work with our own energy, how we've been guiding our own attention. And we get into feeling of what is the quality of feeling when we decide to say, I'm a sixth sun new human on new earth. What's my role? How do I help humanity? And how do I help myself to be in full power to help humanity cross that gap from the old world to this new world? And so that's something I want to ask you. What's your identity? If you were to give yourself a new title within the culture of New Earth, what would your title be? And it could be anything, like, forget that question that people asked you when you were kids. So what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like, what do you want to be when you harmonize with life and expand back into the conscious universe? What do you want to be when you harmonize with life and expand yourself back into a conscious universe? What do you want to be? Give yourself a title in alignment with that. And, I don't know, Captain of Playtime. That could be a title. Or, Master Chef of This is fun. Master Chef of Instant Gratification. Or how about Master Chef of Infinite Possibility? Or, what? Just like get into playfulness. Because remember, the other side of all this pain, all this growth, all this expansion is play. We have got to return to a state of play. So again, what's your new earth role? What's your new earth title? And how do you get into a meditation and a practice of discipline where you support yourself becoming that new title? So it's like all sorts of like businesses, right? You've got to set a goal. So what is the goal of your new earth title, your new earth function? How do you want to play? And how right now are you supporting yourself to set up habits and set up discipline that get you in alignment with your new earth role? And exactly. I mean, and that touches upon, how are you eating? What's your mindset? How's your body? How's the quality of your thinking that goes into feeding your body? How are you feeding your body? Are you resting? Are you loving yourself? And again, are you discovering new ways to work with energy within your meditation that sets up the possibility and the power to access your new earth role? So that's it, basically. That's what I wanted to cover today, was giving yourself the possibility of possibility. And yes, it's important, to meditate. If we're going to have a chance, we have to set up disciplines. Right now I'm disciplining my eating. I'm restricting the amount of calories I've been eating so that I can actually get more in touch with my digestion and how it works. And I'm also doing this thing called intermittent fasting. So I give the body a break from eating for a good 16 hours a day. I don't eat because I'm letting the body rest from eating. So I'm getting in touch with that. And it's a discipline. It's something that you have to really tap into to make it work for you, because there's an end goal, and the end goal is health. So where are you lacking discipline? Get real with yourself. Where are you lacking getting okay with pain, because pain is going to be part of this process. Pain comes when you go to the gym and you lift heavy weights in order to tear the muscles of your body so that they re-knit stronger and grow. Pain is part of this process. And if you're avoiding pain, then that's probably where you're needing to grow. If you're avoiding pain, that's probably where you're needing to go and grow. Now, pain is not self-abuse. That's an important thing to clarify. Pain has nothing to do with being mean to yourself. Sure, we're hard with ourselves, like strict if we need to be like, you've got this, you're going to do this, stick it out, go all the way through. That's encouragement. That's not being abusive. So pain has got nothing to do with self-abuse or being mean to yourself. But pain that comes through discipline is a place of discovery of where you can develop a new power paradigm and grow, right? So I just want to set that out there in this theme of giving yourself the possibility at possibility. So, yeah. If there's any questions, give me a shout out right now. I'd love to take a Q&A just to talk about, again, here on YouTube Live. I'm here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. PST. Sometimes I'll be on Instagram Live doing this. Please hit subscribe and the notifications bell. Oh, I even made a nifty graphic for that. Where'd I put that little sucker? Here we go. So yeah, here on YouTube, hit the thumbs up if you found any value from this video. Please share it with your friends also. And then again, hit subscribe and the notifications bell. And that will help grow this channel so that not only that we can hold Council Fire together, but anybody else that you want in on this. The more we connect, the more we can share, the more that we're going to represent New Earth and figure out the techniques and hold the vibration of being on New Earth together. So any questions on Instagram Live or any questions here on YouTube? Again, we've got to set up these processes of discipline in our lives, meditation, working out, eating right, so that we're setting up the optimum situation to be clear in our energy field. And, like I was saying at the beginning of this talk, marching on Washington or protesting has its place. But if you're fighting the power paradigms outside of you, there's a good chance you're holding those old school power paradigms within you. And if you want to change the world, of course, you've got to change yourself first. So do that inventory of where you're holding on to the way it is, the way it was, so that you can let it go. And so that you can establish a good feeling frequency inside of you of what liberation, possibility feels like, along with what does it feel like to be your true self on New Earth? What's your new role? What's your new position within the tribe? How do you contribute? How great does it feel to contribute? And again, to think of it from the magical. Feel it from the magical side. You don't need to go to, it's like how we get food right now is kind of like how we need to switch up inside of us. Like for me to get food right now, I have to get in my car and I have to drive to the grocery store, walk around all the aisles, put it in a cart, pay for it, drive back home, put it in the fridge, and then cook it, right? That's a whole process. But what if that process can be let go of? If I invent a new way to nourish myself, I've got to get creative. You've got to get creative. We all have to get back. If we want to be creators, we're going to have to be creative. And so what's a new, inventive, fun, playful way you could create a power paradigm within you to retrieve and receive the energy you want to flow in your life and the energy that you want to boost your desires in your life. That's what we can do. Those are the things that we can work with as creators. We don't rely upon the old model. We invent the new model by becoming it first. And so this is possibility and play simultaneously in our disciplines and in our mindset and in our meditations. I think that's about it for today. Again, I am so stoked that we have all been here together for the Obsidian Blade Medicine Hour, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. PST. And it's been a blast, as usual. I love you so much, tribe, New Earth crew, shift team, whatever we want to call ourselves. You tell me. And again, I'll catch you. Today's Wednesday. I'll catch you at Friday, 10 a.m. And bring your questions. Tell me what you've been facing. What would you like for me to deconstruct for you? Any sort of paradigm. And let's look at it. We're here together in this equation of life. And we're here to be the change that we seek in the world. So let's get to it. Time's a wasting when there's no time left, but to be who you really, 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 really are. Cool, Martina. I like that. Your new rule is Garden Fairy of Laughter. Perfect. That's what I'm talking about. Like, get wild with your new Earth title. What's your new Earth position? And what's your new Earth title? And then to think in a way that supports your new way that you contribute on Earth, connected to life, connected to the consciousness of cosmos. So let's keep doing that work together. I love you so much. And I will catch you all later.